One, two, three. Hello, everybody. Welcome in to Loretta McNary Show. And I know I've been calling it Loretta McNary Live because, we are live. Chad's in Knoxville somewhere with the NASCAR. I don't know where he is. Who knows? And I'm somewhere too, right? And obviously, we're not together. So Let me tell you about Chad. Chad and I met last Saturday, and it's amazing we're already doing this. I just have NASCAR fever. I have NASCAR. Is that a thing?
I don't know, but I caught it at a young age, and it's still with me.
There's no help for me to drive the car, but I love watching everybody else. So I'm going to be giving them some of your stats because you're super incredible, and you're so modest. I need a pillow because I forgot you're tall. You're taller than me, and so now I'm sitting here, and you're like way tall. So this guy, Chad Finchum.
Yep, Finchum.
I'm going to share his driver profile with you all. You'll really get to know and fall in love with him and want to follow him and be on his pit team, his pit crew, because it's so much fun going to. So you say you caught it early. How early did you catch it? I'm going to go ahead and let you try to just tell them about the early days when you first caught the bug, the NASCAR bug.
I was a kid growing up in a NASCAR crazy family. My dad, my mom, aunts, uncles, grandparents, everyone. Back in the late '90s, early 2000s, NASCAR was booming. It was a really rapid growing sport, and my parents was eating it up. And I remember coming home from church on Sundays and watching racing. And at a really young age, I obviously had grew up around that, just cars in general. I was always like a gearhead, as they say. And when I got to the point to where, I was 6 years old, and I was telling my dad, I said, I want to race, because at the time I was playing t-ball for just like a local team. And, we seen an ad in a newspaper. And Dad's like, look at this, I'm a little kid, and he's showing me the corner of the newspaper, and he's like, this little guy's about your age, and he's got, look at all these trophies. And I was like, that's what I want to do. And Dad's like, oh yeah, right, you're 6 years old, you don't know what you want to do. But I went on to bug him enough. We found a local go-kart for sale, went and looked at it, found one, and bought it. Ran it home, put it in the garage, and covered it up. Didn't know what to tell Mom at the time. She didn't go with us, and so we finally broke the news to her and convinced her to let me just go practice. We're just gonna see how he does. We don't, So long story short, everything went well. I caught the bug at a young age. Started racing when I was 6 years old, and actually won the first ever race we ever entered. And you would have thought that we won the Daytona 500. And I even slept with my little trophy they gave me. And
awesome. Yep. I love it.
Yep.
I love it. So what was your mom saying when she finally found out when you were young? And then I want to talk about what does she think now, because she's got to be your biggest fan. She is so incredible. We'll talk about Mom, because we cannot talk about you without talking about Mom and Dad. But tell me, what did she think when you all finally told her what you'd been doing?
Oh man, I mean, she's my mom is awesome, and she is a very worrisome, careful mom. And she's like, at first she's mad. She's like, what did you go buy him? He don't need this. He's gonna get hurt. And she still does that to this day. Bless her heart. But it is a dangerous sport. But every sport has that side of it. But you try not to focus on that, and you focus on all the positive stuff. But even to this day, I've been racing for, I don't know, 20-ish years now, I guess it is, and 26, so 20 years, and she still tries to come to every race that she can, her and my dad. So it's really a family thing, and I'm blessed to have them.
I love that story. I absolutely am in love with that story because I used to just think NASCAR was just fast cars, a lot of money, people win who really love this kind of thing. And we would watch it sometimes, but I never attached a human, right? It was always about the cars. And then when I was at NASCAR in Nashville at the Super Speedway, and I got to meet some of the drivers, a lot of the drivers, and a lot of the pit crews for various drivers. And I'm like, they're real people. I don't want them to get hurt, you know. So all of a sudden, I have this thing where you guys are mine and I want to protect you. And I know you got to do what you got to do, but please be safe. I just can't imagine watching that for hours. And, you know, it would give me a panic attack. I was like, now that I know Chad and I know he's in car 66.
Yep, 66.
And I just, can everybody else move and let Chad come through freely?
Yes, just part the ways.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just part the way. So tell me about, I'm going to share some of your highlights because your team, your media team, your marketing team, you are really, you nailed this thing. So you won the 2016 NASCAR K&N Pro Series East race in your home state track, Bristol Motor Speedway. Tell me about Bristol, because everybody's like, Loretta, you got to come to Bristol. You got to come cover the Bristol race. So tell me about that.
Bristol's awesome. You know, but before I give Bristol a lot of credit, you know, it's really cool. For the longest time, you know, when I was growing up, Bristol was like the only track in Tennessee that NASCAR raced at. And then obviously they raced at Nashville years ago, but that was before I made it to NASCAR. And so when NASCAR announced that they were coming back to Nashville, I was like, yes, another Tennessee track. So that was cool for me. But Bristol, you know, growing up was my place. I mean, I loved that track. I remember going there as a fan, watching races. And I remember sitting in the grandstand and saying, I want to be them. I want to be down there racing and participating and winning. And, you know, I had the opportunity in 2016 to do that. I was racing at the local level, regional, I guess you could say. And we were winning a lot of races. We were winning some championships. I felt like my name was starting to get noticed. And I had a driver by the name of Eric McClure, who had been in the NASCAR series for 10 plus years and had a huge following, and he was getting ready to retire from driving, and he wanted to step down, and instead of leaving the sport, or you once you're a part of something for so long, you don't really know what to do when you make your transition. So he was like, I'm just going to open up a team and manage a team. So he was from Abington, Virginia. Bristol was kind of his home track too. And he called me and he said, I've been keeping up with you. I like what you're doing. Here's my thoughts. What do you think? And we brainstormed some stuff, put a deal together. Our first two races was in 2015, just kind of a test run, I guess you could say. We had okay success, but we learned a lot. I mean, he was a fresh team owner, and that was a new car and a new series to me at that time. So big learning curve. First two races, 2015. I don't think we had that great of success or luck then, but our third race ever was the spring race at Bristol. We come out, build a brand new car, new engine, the whole 9 yards, and we go out and win the thing. And it was like, it couldn't be at a better moment in both of our lives. You know, he was stepping down from a driver, driving to becoming a team owner. It was, 2015 was a transition period for me. You know, I've been racing full time at the NASCAR Whelen Series since 2012. And we were, I was doing my own thing. We had a shop here in Knoxville. We were building the cars and running with just some family help. And, it takes a lot of money and a lot of effort. And things started coming to an end, I guess you could say. It felt like, we won a championship in 13. We won a championship in 14. Nobody called. Nobody knocked on the doors. Nobody come and seen us. And it's like all the success and nobody seems to be noticing. And it was kind of starting to hit like a plateau, and you're thinking, man, is the dream ever going to come true? And so, me and my family and my dad had a heart to heart, a sit down talk at around 2015, and we were like, we just can't keep going on like this. We were using our family money to put into the race cars, and it was just too much strain on us. And when Eric when me and him, when our paths met, and he sparked that idea to me. It was a really special time because here I am a year later, possibly being without a racing career in my future. And now we're sitting in victory lane at Bristol. And it was just like, it was just amazing. I mean, there was tears going everywhere.
Yes.
It was cool.
And so I'm not sure if you're a man of faith or not. It really doesn't matter. But for me, I feel that even being a woman of faith, I've had times in my career that I was thinking about quitting too. And I mean, recently I was asking the Lord, because I wasn't doing shows because of the pandemic. I was making all these excuses, and I said, is my season over? And the next thing I know, after asking that question in prayer, then all these amazing things and opportunities started happening. Credentials to cover NASCAR to being one of those things, but a lot of stuff like that. So it seemed like every time it gets tough when you're about to really experience something totally different and take you to that next level. So that's what sounds like happened in 2015, then 2016. So that is good. So, and you know, when I told people I was going to interview you, and they were trying to get me to ask Haji and all of them about how fast do the cars go, Chad? I'm going to wait, don't answer yet. I want to look at your face. How fast are you going on that track?
So, I mean, obviously it depends on the track. The cars are capable of speeds well over 200, but, you know, based on track size, it's depending on how fast we get. The fastest I've ever recorded was last year at Daytona. I think it was 208. So I think that's my personal fastest.
Was your mom there and your dad?
She was.
Your wife?
I think she was having a mini panic attack, but she was there.
I want to have it now myself, just thinking about you out there with not just you by yourself, but other cars, Chad. Other cars are there.
40 of us out there running inches apart from each other at 200 mile an hour. It's really fun for us. You know, we none of the drivers really, you know, we don't, obviously there's a danger side to our sport, but we don't, you never focus your mind in on that. And we just go out there, have a good time, and put our skills to work. And usually when you see us, bumping each other or maybe there's, we're all friends at the end of the day, and we get out of the cars after the race, and we're going up and shaking each other's hand like, man, that was fun. That was a good race. I'll get you next week or whatever.
So, oh my goodness, that is so exciting and scary at the same time. So because we're also going to air this on TV and not just social media and then on the network. So I have to pause so we can plug in some commercials, right? We got to pay bills. So we're just going to be quiet and still for a few minutes so they'll know she paused finally. So we
sounds good.
All right, everybody, we're back, and I'm talking to the phenomenal Chad Finchum, and he just told me that he has gone as fast as 200 plus miles with 40 other cars, and I'm still trying to digest that because I know my son's speed. But Chad, I'm so glad regular cars can't go that fast, because I'm sure whatever car they have, and we are a Toyota family and Audi, Mercedes, I'm sure. But they won't tell me, and I'm not even gonna ask you either. How fast have you gone in your regular car? I'm not even gonna ask you because I got a lot of police people watching, and I don't know if they can give me a ticket after the fact. Because I have to be honest, I speed too, Chad. I'm guilty, but since nobody caught me, they can't come and give me a ticket because I did say that. But not nearly as fast as like my sons or probably you.
Maybe you should grab a seat in the race car for a weekend and take it for a few laps.
Only if nobody else is there and you're sitting next to me to auto correct me, because I don't want to flip. I can't even play the racing video games on like the PlayStations and I can't even do none of that, Chad. I'm horrible. Do you play racing games on the video games?
I do. We have so it's funny you asked that. So when the pandemic came about, NASCAR was scrambling. They're like, what do we do? I mean, all sports, the whole world was, but NASCAR had a very unique platform that they were able to use and get back promoting the sport and getting everybody involved, getting the fans involved, getting the drivers involved. And what they did was there's a platform called iRacing that is basically a virtual simulator that all the drivers and teams use as a teaching tool. Because what they done is the creators of iRacing has went and scanned these tracks with this high dollar laser system, every track that's on the game, and it's within thousands of being, like if there's a bump in a turn at a track, like it's in the game, like it's
Wow.
very, very close to being the realest thing you can get. And so last April, nothing was going on, everything was shut down. NASCAR said, hey, we're going to run some iRaces on the network on Fox. So we did that, and my hat's off to them on that, because I never figured a video game could be televised, but they did it. The fans reacted well. The drivers
it's like
had fun.
It's the thing. So I got to talk about some of your successes, and then I'm so cool. I'm like, this is my new friend Chad and his family. So I'm like part of the family. I'll probably show up for Thanksgiving dinner. I'm going to tell you that now. Look for me. Save a seat. But you have a Wikipedia. You have a Wikipedia page. That is so cool. I'm just fascinated by that. So not only have you won NASCAR victories, on your home state track at the Bristol Motor Speedway, but you have over 1,000 total career victories across multiple racing disciplines. So you know how to make an impression. I promise you, you're impressive. You're impressive anyway. And then you do stuff with charities. I couldn't love you more. I just could not love you more.
Yeah, I tell you, racing is a huge passion of mine, and so it's always been how do we give back? How do we do whatever? And so NASCAR has done a great job throughout the years of setting up little events at the track, doing things with the Speedway Children's Charity, whatever it may be, and it's really cool to see really what's going on in the sport, and it's not just me, it's all the drivers. Most every driver is doing something out there, and it's really cool. I remember when I was a kid and I was showing up to the races, and I was in the stands, and we would walk around the speedway or go to the concession stand, and I remember experiencing that when I was a kid. And if you remember meeting a driver or catching them out somewhere, it was like you want to run up to them and get their signature. And I just any way that you can impact someone's life, even if it's just by telling them have a good day, that's what we're about. And I'll tell you, I've been racing a long time, and the 1,000 victories, I would have never imagined that it would have been that high by now. I don't think I've ever Googled myself, but I know I just recently renovated the shop that I used to race in, our family-owned shop, and we kind of made it almost like not a museum, but it's just kind of like a place you can go. You can see the pictures on the wall, the trophies on the wall, and there's a lot of trophies, and it's kind of like a trip down memory lane every time we walk in there.
I love that. And you deserve that. Chad should have his museum. He should have his museum. You have such appeal, as Monica says. So what's next for you? Where can we find you? Of course, they know social media. When's your next race?
So,
how often do you race?
Well, obviously, NASCAR is it's a brutal season. We're out there from basically Valentine's Day to Thanksgiving is our season. They give us a few weeks off here and there, but that's it. Our next race will be actually this weekend at Pocono. I myself will not be participating in that race, as this season I am only running part-time. We are still actively looking for sponsors and partners to be on our car to help get us a full-time ride. This is the first season I've not been full-time in almost my entire career. So it's a little change of pace for me. I'll have to sit back and watch it on TV tomorrow. But my next race will hopefully be coming up soon. I know that I've got Bristol on the schedule in September, so I'll be definitely at that event. But hopefully more to come than that.
Of course, more to come to that. So have you ever been to Memphis? I think I asked her mom. I'm not sure what I what she answered, or I may not have. I asked so many people that was my top question. Have you ever been to Memphis? Are you going to come to Memphis?
I would love to come. I can't remember a time that I've ever been there. I've traveled basically all over the United States. I'm sure.
And you can't come 8 hours, 7 hours down the street.
I need to.
Okay, so how do you take your car? I know you don't drive it, so you have I saw a ton of trailers, 18-wheelers, and a smaller one. So is that how you travel?
Well, so the team that I drive for is MBM Motorsports. They are based out of Statesville, North Carolina. So they have their own operation, their own crew guys, their own haulers, race cars, the whole 9 yards. And I'm based out of Knoxville. So, I'm 3.5-ish hours away. I'll go over there once or twice a month to hang out with the guys, take them to lunch, whatever, and just kind of do like a team meeting or a debriefing. But pretty much they handle it from top to bottom, and we show up and drive the cars.
Oh, wow. So you have to have a lot of trust when it comes to that, because I'm thinking that you should come to Memphis and maybe we can take you to St. Jude.
Okay.
See if there's a wonderful child there who has a desire to meet a NASCAR race car driver. Yeah. And I'd like to be a part of that. So I want us to talk about that offline. Mm-hmm. And then I know we have a lot of boys and girls clubs here that it would be great PR for you to come to Memphis. And the guests, like Oprah said at the Omni, well, the guests of the Loretta McNary show stay at the Peabody. Yay! So you should think about coming here and let's make somebody's wish come true.
Yeah.
I think they would love that.
Yeah. And that, honestly, that would work out really good with the scheduling this season, being that I'm, not full time. I would definitely have some time to come do that. That would be awesome.
So who do people say you remind them of off the track?
Oh gosh.
I have some names, and I know Monica too. Monica is my VP of Public Relations and Media Relations, and she's on here too. So who do people say you look like or you remind them of?
I don't really know, to be honest with you. I don't think whenever they say it, my fiance will say, well, you might look a little bit like so-and-so. I've heard maybe Jimmy Johnson a little bit here and there, or Matt DiBenedetto here and there. I've heard some comparisons, and I look at them and I'm like, really? You think so? But I guess it all depends on the person.
I was asking, right? I don't know why, but I'm thinking you got a little Elvis vibe going here, and then you have that accent. So thank you very much. Do you sing?
No. I would probably make people's ears bleed.
Well, you certainly make our hearts bleed when you're out there in that car exceeding, the speed of sound almost. So I can see, I don't believe you do. I think you can probably sing. I can hear it in your voice. So who influences you? Who currently, somebody that's, maybe not racing now, or they're still racing, who influences you?
Growing up, my favorite race car driver, hands down, no question about it, was Dale Earnhardt Sr. And then when he had his tragic passing in 2001, I kind of leaned on the weight of his son, Dale Earnhardt Jr. And so as I was growing up, that was kind of my quote unquote idols for racing. And I felt that they did a lot for the sport on and off the track. And then as I grew closer to NASCAR and learned more about it and actually was able to meet the drivers, I mean, the list is long. I feel like there's something you can learn from everyone. Mm-hmm. Jimmy Johnson's arguably one of the greatest that's ever been in our sport. And I definitely try and model myself a little bit after him. So there's a lot of people, but even excluding the sport, excluding any type of celebrity, it's got to be my parents. I mean, they've been there for me since day one. I've been beyond blessed to be raised in such a good family, and have been taught, certain things and the do's and the don'ts. And honestly, it's they're definitely up there in first.
And I know, like I said earlier, your mom is got to be your number one fan. I haven't met your dad yet, so there may be like a struggle there trying to pick out who is your number one fan. but I'm clearly in that number, and I will see you race again.
Yes.
But my thing is, you guys are driving. How do you prepare for that? You're driving for hours?
Yes. Typically, our races are, I don't know, probably at least 2.5 hours plus on the short side, and on the long side, probably 5 hours on some of the longer races. And it's tough. It's hard to prepare for that. One of the toughest things that we endure is the heat inside the car. So it's kind of a double-edged sword, right? Because you're going through so much heat that your body's sweating a bunch, so you have to stay hydrated, but you can't use the restroom. So oh man, it's tough. Biggest thing is just conditioning, running, or any type of cardio. We don't necessarily have to go and lift a ton of weights or do anything crazy like that. I mean, if you want to, it's great, but it's not necessary. Biggest thing is just overall conditioning, because they're long races and your body's going through a lot of heat.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, that's incredible. So like the race Saturday, no, you were in Sunday's race. How many times did you go around that track, and how many times were you able to stop for whatever reason?
So the race was 300 laps, and I believe, and oh my gosh, we made probably about 5-ish pit stops. So whatever, 20, 25 seconds at most that we were in the pits was about the only breaks we got, other than what cautions had come out. And you have, your little, pace laps that say they're 2 minutes apiece. So if you add everything up, we might have got a total of, in a 4-hour race, we might have got a 15-minute breather total.
I can't. I don't even, I know I want you to continue to do it, but I can't even think about that part of it, because I know you love it. And now I have done, let's see, how many shows have I done in one day? Probably 8 to 10 in one day for 3 different networks for 3 different shows. But by the time I got home, I was spent. I didn't have a brain cell. I didn't want to do anything, but I don't have to do it every day, right? So,
right.
But I loved it because I have that badge of honor to say, hey, you know what? I've done about 9, 10 shows, 12 or something. It was crazy. It was 9, because it was 3 different networks, 3 different shows, and all in one day. So that was 9 changes, Chad, and anywhere from 9 to 18 different guests. Woo. So would you rather do that or driving that beautiful fast car for 300 laps?
Well, that's definitely intense. I'm gonna say I would rather drive in the car just because I'm used to it.
You know what? I was thinking about, can you, will your insurance allow somebody like to sit in the car?
Yeah.
Like when you're out somewhere and somebody's, you're finished or you hadn't started, I guess you wouldn't before you start, but let's say you're there in a garage or something. Can somebody sit in your seat?
Yes, 100%. Yes.
Did somebody named Loretta McNary sit in your seat one day, but not have the car on, and don't have anyone pushing it either? I don't want it to move.
Yes, we actually, back about 5 years ago when I was running locally, we used to go and on Monday nights at Texas Roadhouse. We had about 5 locations that were on board with us at the time, and we went to those 5 locations on Monday nights because it was kids' night. And what we would do is we'd bring the car and set it up, and kids could come up. They could set, we would set them in the seat. They would take a picture, pretend like they're driving it or whatever. So yeah, 100%. People set them all the time.
Okay, so next time, maybe in off season, maybe the car is at one of those places, or in Memphis at St. Jude. Perhaps it's a beautiful car. What kind is it?
Our team is mainly a Toyota team. So in the Xfinity Series, we'll run the Supras, and in the Cup Series, we'll run the Camrys. We do have a couple Fords in the fleet, Mustangs, but we are predominantly Toyota.
Okay. You have a preference?
Whatever's fast that day. Growing up, I guess you could. I favored Ford a little bit just because the majority of my career locally and the stuff that I did when I was running regionally was all with Ford, and I kind of I did that for 5 or 6 years, and I grew with that company and was able to build relationships, and so a lot of the people that worked there then still work there, and so I had the opportunity to race the Ford Mustang back in February at Daytona, and that was the first time I'd driven a Ford since like 2015. And so it felt like coming home. You got to see a lot of people. There was a lot of, people I hadn't seen in a long time, but, I won Bristol in the Toyota. And so that in my opinion, is the highlight of my whole career. So, and I've been with Toyota since 2016. So I have a long-standing relationship with them. So no preference really, just whatever's fast. And, obviously the team owner, Carl Long, for our team has to make the decisions of which manufacturer that we're driving for. And I'm game for whatever.
So on the day of the race, how are you preparing, and what are you thinking when you're on the track before they saying, start your engine kind of thing? How do you prepare, and then what are you thinking?
So my biggest thing is, a lot of times when you're racing, it's hot outside. I mean, especially in the midsummer months. So just trying to stay in the air conditioning, but you don't want to stay in it all day and then come out and be like, wow, and it hit your body and shock you. So just trying to keep all activities as low as possible on race day. You're going to have a big race coming up, hydrating like crazy. And then one of my rituals is I always eat a foot-long Subway sandwich before the race, like an hour before the race, like ham and turkey with all the veggies. Like, that's me. That's me.
Oh my goodness, that's hilarious. So do you bring that with you every time? You got like a lunchbox, or because there wasn't a Subway anywhere near there?
No, I just always ask my phone, Siri, where's the nearest Subway? She takes me there. I get one. I got my little backpack. I put it in there, and when I get to the track, I eat it.
Oh my goodness. So do you have any moments like when people are like pushing your car to the track or getting it ready? Do you ever have like some kind of alpha male moment where, yeah, I'm Chad, I drive for NASCAR, and then your mom slaps you back to reality?
Not really. I mean, I'm sure some people do. Not really, because and not that I ever had a reason to take anything for granted, but if for whatever, this season was a huge eye opener for me, because I had basically been straight out of high school. All right, I graduated in 2012, straight out of high school, and we were. I mean, I was already racing, but then that's when it got real heavy, and we started, seeing a potential career path. And so, I've been racing full time, doing this, doing that, and off season was about building the cars. How do we improve them? How do we make them better? Summertime was just the summertime grind of racing. We're always gone. We're always on the road. And, you kind of, like I said, you never take it for granted, but you just get accustomed to the motions, going through the motions. And then this season being the first season that I haven't been full time, basically in my entire career, has really opened my eyes to appreciate even the smallest details of packing the suitcase to go to the track, or when you get to the track, driving through the tunnel and getting on the other side of the infield. Like, it's all the small details that I've been able to really hone in on and appreciate this season over previous seasons.
Okay, so you're getting a lot of hearts and a lot of thumbs up through this show. So people love you. Somebody said that you could be a double for what's that? Dylan McDermott. You could be a double for him. So I have two more questions, and then I'm going to let you go, because I know I said 30 minutes, but it feels like I'm talking to my little brother or something, right? So have you ever, since you just said that's what you do for Subway, have you or your parents or your team ever approached Subway about a sponsorship?
May have, may not. I doubt it. I don't think we have, but that would
I think you should.
Yeah.
I think you should.
I mean, I'm already eating a Subway sandwich at least one, if we're at the track 3 days, I have one per day. If we're at it one day, I have it just the one day. So you're getting a lot of support.
I promise somebody should say that to them, and I bet they'll be a sponsor. I bet you, if nothing else, they'll provide your Subway. I bet they will, because you have made it public. This is what you do. And now I forgot my second question. Because I can't believe I just see that, and Monica said the same thing. They will be a premier sponsor for sure, because you do that, and that's your ritual. And I bet they will. So, Mom and Dad, please approach Subway and let them know, and let Subway know that Chad has just really just hit the ball at the park with that he loves Subway. So other people will be buying Subway too because Chad said it, right?
Yes, I hope
Yeah.
so. I could devour a sandwich.
So is there an age limit to car racing for NASCAR?
For NASCAR, there was, and there still is. I know they've had some talk about moving it around. You know, when I come up through the ranks, I think it was 16, but I think they have moved for our level. I think it was 16, but
that's the minimum.
Yes, but
and then how old?
No
age.
As long as
You
you want.
like 80 and driving a car?
You can if you want to.
Oh, wow. So, this has been so fun and I've learned so much and had some good questions. And the fact that we made this happen so fast. And I know people say, Loretta, I've been trying to get on your show for a long time, but I caught the NASCAR bug, the fever. So I had to get everybody on. And I probably got 2 more shows scheduled next week with NASCAR people. But I'm loving it. And much success to you, Chad. I know you will do extremely well. And I'm going to see how we can make that. You coming to St. Jude to do one of those Make-A-Wishes for somebody who wants to meet a NASCAR champion. Because you would just, they will love you. They will love. And so Misty and Junior McKinney said, hey, little bro.
Hey, that's my sister.
Your real sister?
Yeah, awesome. My real sister.
Did you talk about your mom and dad? Any other siblings other than Misty?
One brother, one sister. Yep,
that's
both
me
older.
too. One brother and one sister.
Youngest. Yep.
Aw. I'm the middle, so I have issues.
Okay.
I got that middle child syndrome bad. Even at my age, I still have it. So, Chad, I'm not going to continue to hold you, but this has been I've enjoyed it immensely.
Yes. Thank
you
you so
are
much
great on and off the track.
Yes,
okay, who is
so
James? Who's James?
That's my father.
Hey, Mr. Finchum, you've done a great job with him. And your mom's name? We just shouted him out. We got to shout your mom out.
Linda Finchum.
So Loretta and Linda, those L's. Okay. So
go.
he said, let's roll. So I will be. This is not goodbye. You will see me again, right?
Yes.
And you will be on my show again.
I hope
because I told your mom this will air on TV, and then I also have an app on iOS devices and Android. And I still got some more announcement to make, but I'm gonna wait. So I'm gonna put you everywhere. I'm going to put you everywhere. I love what you do. I love your personality. I love that you pay homage to your parents and that you give back through charities, and can't ask for better than that. And then you're a champion too. Oh yeah. So thank you so much, Chad. It was a pleasure to have you on the show. So I have this little thing I do. And I thank you for being here. Any closing words though? Anything you want to say before we move on?
I just want to say thank you so much for having me on. It was honestly a blessing that we was able to meet there at the races this past weekend. I'm looking forward to seeing more of you and coming over hopefully and visiting Memphis for a little while.
We're gonna do that.
Exciting. And
because I want to do that Make-A-Wish. I know there's somebody's baby there that wants to drive or meet somebody who drives a fast car and drives for NASCAR. So we're gonna make it happen. I'll work that out. I'll find out, and then we'll get you here.
That'll sound good.
Look at your mom. Now your mom's on too. I love this. You may be the only guest I've had whose both parents and their whole family was on. But I don't know because
I was texting everybody today. I was like, "Hey, you gotta watch. 7:30.
Yeah, so you guys can share this. It'll be the recorded version. It will be available on Facebook, LinkedIn, everywhere. You guys can just share it. Please share it.
Okay.
Yeah, I see big things and more interviews for you. Good Morning America. Late night with whoever's doing late night. Somebody might give you a scene in a movie. I don't know. The sky is not even the limit.
That's right. Well, thank you so much for having me on.
Yes. Thank you for being here. So in my closing, I always like to inspire people. I don't want to just be on TV just to be on TV. I always want to inspire people. I want to motivate them, encourage them, lift their spirits, and teach them some things too, so they can go and, conquer the world, the mountain. So I always say, Think positive, dream big dreams, help someone along the way, and I'll see you the very next time. Bye-bye, everybody.